Before you think about reading the progression charts in the Kostka and Payne book, you must understand that these progressions are based on the techniques of the 18th century composers as culminated in the style of J.S. Bach. The basic theory for progression of chords is based upon Jean-Philippe Rameau's theory of inversion. Rameau's theory is that no matter what the vertical arrangement of a triad is, its root remains the same. The example here is a C-E-G chord. It doesn't matter what the lowest note is. It's still a root of C. In studying the intervallic relationship of roots, there are only 3 intervals. The 5th, whose inversion is the 4th, the 2nd, whose inversion is the 7th, the 3rd, whose inversion is the 6th. Another interval is the tritone, but it is a special case. The perfect fifth governs more in music than you have probably been aware of. It is the first interval in a vertical harmonic structure. It's the first interval in the harmonic series by 2 notes with different names, and major and minor scales are built on projecting the perfect fifths. The 5th was probably the first interval used in vertical harmonic structure. By the 9th century, the practice arose in many churches of performing portions of plain chant melodies with an added harmonizing voice, possibly as a means of greater emphasis or of reinforcing the sound to carry through the larger churches that were being built at the time. This harmonizing technique, called organum, is the first true example of harmony. The first instances were extremely simple, consisting of adding a voice that exactly paralleled the original melody at the interval of a 4th or 5th.
Nos vivimus benedicimus Dominum, ex hoc nunc et usque in saeculum. Nos vivimus benedicimus Dominum, ex hoc nunc et usque in saeculum.
It is the first interval created by the harmonic series by 2 notes of a different name. In this example, A is the fundamental. The first partial is another A, and then we get to a different note, an E. The third partial is a 5th above the A. The major and minor key signatures are derived from projecting the Aeolian and Ionian modes up and down fifths. Each time a major scale is raised to perfect fifth, a sharp is added, and that sharp is to correct the 7th of the scale. Each time a major scale is lowered to perfect fifth, a flat is added, and that flat is to correct the 4th scale step. Remember scale steps 4 and 7 and chords 4 and 7, for you will find later that exceptions are always being made for these 2 renegades. Now, how do you go about writing a progression that sounds like Bach? Yes, all the part writing procedures are based on what Bach did, so sounding like Bach is a good thing. There are 3 tonal triads, the 1, the 4, and the 5. The 5th is a 5th above tonic, and the 4th is a 5th below tonic. In the chorales of Bach, the intervallic root relationship of adjacent sonorities, these are intervals between the roots of 2 back-to-back chords, is found in the following percentages of usage. fifth aparts for 50% of the time, seconds apart 20% of the time, thirds apart 10% of the time, and prime, that's when you stay on the same chord, the remaining percentage. Dr. Francis McBeth, my composition teacher and first theory teacher, attributes percentages to the magic fifth also. The interval of a fifth can be either a fifth above tonic or a fifth below tonic. Taking the key of C, with each scale step being thought of as a root of a diatonic triad, let's examine their relationship with the tonic triad, C. The closer the fifth, the stronger the progression. C down to F is a fifth away. Remember, C is the tonic. C up to G is 1/5 away. C up to D, which is 2/5 away, because you have C and G and then D. A is 3/5 away, C to G to D to A. E is 4/5, and B is 5/5 away. How, you ask, do you know which direction these fifths, seconds, and thirds move? Remember, the closer the fifth, the better the progression. So, 1/5 away is the fifth down and the fifth up. So that's the strongest progression. 2/5 away, C to G to D, is seconds apart. And that would be a second up, because C to D is a second up. 3/5 away, C to G to D to A. C to A is a third down, so thirds apart would go down, C down to A. Seconds down and thirds up are not strong at all, because they are 4/5 away and 5/5 away. Now look at the major progression diagram found in the Tonal Harmony book. The basis of this chart is a descending fifth progression, the strongest progression of all. The chords 3 to 6 to 2 to 5 to 1. 4 is included with the 2 chord because these are both predominant chords. The 7 chord, because it has the leading tone, is considered a dominant chord along with the 5 chord. The arrows indicate which chords can progress to other chords. You will notice that the interval and direction of the chords follow the hierarchy we discussed earlier. In order by strength, fifths apart, down and up, seconds apart, up, and thirds apart, down. The 1 chord can go to 7 because it is used in a special kind of progression, which is a passing progression. We'll talk about that when you learn about first inversion triads. Every other progression follows the indicated interval and direction. Also notice that 2, although it is a fifth up, cannot go to 6 because when going up a fifth, both chords have to be tonal chords. You can find these guidelines in the part writing methods document. The arrow from the 1 chord indicates that it can go to any other chord. Now, look at the minor diagram. Again, the basis is a descending fifth progression. It starts with a major 7 chord built on the subtonic. This chord is found in the natural minor and the descending melodic minor scales. It becomes the dominant of the 3 chord in these scales. After the 3 chord is the 6, the 2, the 5, and the tonic chord. Again, the arrows represent the used progressions.